Welcome into Mike LaTulip's Film Room. It's time to break down Illinois' 95-74 victory at Minnesota. Big bounce back for the Illini after the loss at Rutgers. A new lineup and great offensive efficiency, Mike. 1.6 points per possession in this one. Take us through what you saw.
Yeah, I talked about in the podcast, them just kind of dipping into the toolbox and having an array of different looks that they threw at Minnesota. I mean, a lot of it came out of 5 out, and I want to show just the impact of Tomislav Ivicic in addition to a lot of these other guys. But on this particular clip, Tomislav's ability when he comes down and he picks and pops to the top of the key, that guy in the next to the ball gap, his ability to cut, and in this case, it's Kylan. I just want to show you the impact that has, and with Tomislav being a shooter, the paranoia that it puts on that guy that is guarding Kylan. So to start, you see the pick and pop, and as soon as this happens, you got, I think it's Patterson here, or Mitchell, that's in the next to the ball gap. So if Garcia commits to the ball and they switch, then Mitchell is the guy that's like, I kind of have to stunt over. And the second he moves over, Kylan says, that's when I'm gone.
Mm-hmm.
And he's able to deliver a pass. Kylan gets to the free throw line, but you can see as we start the clip over, picture this being a shooter in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Parker Fox is still kind of there for Kylan. Tomislav just makes an unbelievable pass, but just with the cutting and the personnel that they have on the floor, I mean, that's just a really, really good look. Now, again, I mean, this is a set play to get Ben Rickhouse into a back down here. And I love the start of it because Kylan posts, like you can see him here. And so what that does is makes Mitchell try to kind of like fight around to the top. So now when Kylan goes and sets this cross screen on the baseline, Mitchell's already out, so he just ends up calling a switch. And that's the switch that they want, to be able to throw it into Ben, for him to be able to operate. And I like this. Like, Ben typically goes to the fadeaway at this point, and just their thought process to start this game was like, we're going through your chest here. They knew they had an advantage in the paint, and they exploited it.
Yeah. Patient on that one. That was Domask-like.
Really patient. Now running here in transition, it's just really good. Slip out from Ben, create confusion. And look, there's times where Ben will catch this and shoot it. And, it's on movement. It's a really, really hard shot to shoot when you're running and kind of having to do a pirouette into a three. It takes just a lot of really good balance and a really good base. But he sees it's like not a good closeout from Minnesota. And I'm gonna beat you baseline because everybody's lifted. Tomislav fell by the logo up top. Everybody's lifted. I'm able to drive. And when we got Tomislav's guy come over and try to help out to block a shot, that's a little dump off. Great pass from Ben. We'll see it all the way through here.
Tommy finishing a little bit better lately too.
Yes.
On some of these.
So just watch this clip through again. And just watch the timing for Ben on the slip out, the confusion it creates when he slips out in this way. They kind of bust a switch, long close out. Tomislav gets right to the front of the rim, finish.
Credit to Kylan for picking up his teammate too.
Yep. In the middle of the play. Not an ideal time, but it'll work. I mean, this is just really, really good because, again, Tommy's a shooter. And when I talk about like the personnel, the pass that Tommy made to Kylan, different action, right? I mean, this is more like a get action where you pass it and you go into what would be like a dribble handoff, but Tomislav's able to keep it. And then as he reverse pivots, he's able to use his body to create almost like a rub screen for Kasparis to free himself up. But look at the personnel. Got shooter in the opposite corner, and I got shooter in the ball side corner. And so neither of those guys can really help. There's paranoia there. And if Tommy just delivers a good pass like that, what do you do?
Yeah.
Right? It's just hard because you don't want to go under on KJ either for him to pop back and then have a rescreen or shoot behind it. Good verticality from Tomislav. And again, like this was probably offensively, this was their best personnel grouping. from like a free-flowing standpoint, and because you have guys that just understand how to play. I mean, watch Will Riley on this play. First of all, Kylan puts his head down and runs. Great. Put your head down and run your ass to the corner. He does that. And Will realizes here when he delivers his pass, even though Will leaves his feet, he sees that Mitchell also leaves his feet and takes himself out of the play. So when he does that, I'm not just going to, float by the Cambria logo up here. You're going to take yourself out of the play. I'm beelining to the basket. And this is the reason why this is so good is Will gets a layup here, but if Patterson was in tune under the basket and rotated over, that's boom, boom, or it's boom, boom. So, and that's all from just the IQ of Will Riley to understand, hey, my man's out of the play. I gotta get to the basket. It's one of the oldest plays in basketball. It's just a give and go.
Man, when this team gets stops and runs, Mike, they were doing that at a great pace.
And that's the important thing too. They got stops and they were able to get out and run. Early offense. We go back. So we'll watch this clip again. I talked about in the podcast, Tomislav getting his hand in passing lanes, preventing a layup. Then they get out. Tomislav runs hard, brings his man out to the perimeter. Now we're completely cleared in the paint. This is really good for Merez. Early drag screen here. Get out. Sorry. You got Will in the corner. Not too deep. Honestly, probably good that he's high here. Shooter in the opposite corner. They don't get the dunk here, but you can see how that would work. This is really good here. Good action. Kylan, like the timing here is important. As Will goes over the top and Kylan goes over the bot or goes under, Kylan can't sprint all the way through. He's got to create at least some confusion between Patterson and Garcia, and I'll explain why here in a second. So when Will goes over the top and gets the enter, cleared side, and you got options here. Okay, so if Garcia doesn't commit, this is a quick pass to Tomislav. Merez roll to the basket. You might have a lob. That's what this play I think is designed to do. If that's Tomislav setting this and not Merez, it's a pick and pop to a cleared side corner. But what Kylan does as he jogged out of there, right now, because there's no communication between Patterson and Garcia thinks he's the low man.
Mm-hmm.
So the second that this play happens, watch Garcia. Mm-hmm. Garcia's like, I got two. And if Patterson doesn't talk to him, then he stays out on Tomislav. But the confusion that it creates allows Tomislav to get a three. So it's like I thought instead of just going high ball screen all night, like they got a lot in this toolbox to play with the personnel grouping that they have on the floor with these guys. There's a lot that they can do. And it's part of the reason why, like, I didn't mention this on the podcast, but to this point last year, Illinois this year in Big Ten play has had 4 games over 1 point per possession offensively. Last year, if I had you guess to this point with that team, how many games do you think, let's call it February 10th, how many games do you think they had over 1 point per possession?
With
and it was similar games. It was what? They were 12 games in, 11?
10?
3.
Wow.
So, like, the more that they get the grouping that they like they're going to continue to ascend. I think with this offense. And then this is just the last clip that I'll show because it's really good. I talked about being smart on the road, and again, Minnesota wasn't great defensively, and this is exactly what you should do to a team that's not great defensively. I mean, this is like Matthew Meyer, hands on the knees. I don't know.
At the game, Mike, I had my YouTube TV on. I rewound this play like 4 times to figure out how this happened.
I'll tell you how it happened. You got paranoia from Garcia guarding Ben, paranoia from 11 for Minnesota guarding Will Riley. I don't know what Patterson's doing on the ball. Nothing, apparently. Parker Fox, his hands on his knees. And Kylan realizes, like, hey, Mitchell, if you're not going to have your butt to the I and or to the 1 and G and big, you're giving me a free lane. And this pass doesn't happen if Patterson's just on the ball right here.
Right.
So at some point, I guarantee it, this clip cut in late, so I couldn't really see it. I guarantee you Kylan and Kasparis locked eyes at some point. And they're like, some teams pull their ear, but really most times it's just two guys looking at each other, like, giving each other the eyes, and then they go. Because this is Kylan just breaking off the play, and it's really smart, and he's able to really put Mitchell in jail and finish. So, like, everything I just showed you wasn't just high ball screen for Kasparis, let's just play out of it. I mean, it was taking the personnel you had on the floor and really being able to say, we can do a lot with this group. So I would expect this to continue. I would expect, whether it's the 5 you see on the floor right now or swapping out Merez for Tomislav, like, they're going to ride those 6. And then, Jake Davis, we'll see with Trey and Dre, obviously. And I think there's going to be definitely moments for them to pop in and do their thing. But when you need buckets and when you need to impose your will on the offensive end, like, they got a lot that they can go to, and they're trending in the right direction as they discover these groupings here in February.
Mike LaTulip, thanks for making us basketball smart as always, man.
Appreciate it, man.